Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Shayna with Sweet Temptations. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit subscribe and don't forget the bell so you're notified of my future videos. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make these super cute hot cocoa bombs. Some of you may have seen my video on Facebook showing how they open up in the cup. They're super delicious and they make amazing gifts for the holidays. So to get started, we're going to go over the supplies that you need. The first thing that you need is this sphere mold from Amazon. I'll put a link to it below. It's the 2.5 inch. You also need a cookie sheet to put it on so that it stays flat. A brush for your chocolate. I like to use gloves on chocolate just so I'm not smudging it up and leaving fingerprints. And then the things that you need, regardless of which flavor you're using, are your chocolate. I'm going to be using almond bark, white, and the regular. You can also use these Ghirardelli chocolate chips, the melting wafers. They also work really well. But I'm going to be using the almond bark today. You also need marshmallows. Mine look a little bit different because they're homemade, so they're going to be kind of funky shaped. You also need, I like to use hot cocoa mix. Some people like to use just the almond bark, but I like the hot cocoa mix. Then depending on what flavor you need to make, I have some crushed candy canes for the peppermint. Or you could also use these Andes peppermint crunches. Those are really good. They make the hot cocoa a little creamier. I like those in those. I'm also making a salted caramel, and for mine I use a homemade salted caramel sauce. I've seen some people, I'm not going to use them today, but I've seen some people use the different colored marshmallows for like a unicorn one. And then I've also done, instead of using the hot cocoa mix, you can also use flavored latte mix. I think is really good too. And I think that's it as far as supplies go. You can do different fillings for different flavors. These are just what I use. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is melt your chocolate, your almond bark, or your wafers, whichever you're using. I did go ahead and do that beforehand just to save some time. And you're going to put it in the microwave, and you can microwave it for 30 seconds at a time. And you want to take it out after each 30 seconds and give it a good stir just until it's melted. So it'll look just like that. All right. And in my video on Facebook, I had the golden ones, and I didn't realize till right before I wanted to do this that I didn't have any more of the color mist spray, which is what I used in the first one. So I'm going to try and use silver this time, and I'm going to do an edible dust and see how this goes. So what I'm going to do first is put this into 2 parts of my mold. So we got that. All right. And then you're going to start with your chocolate. And you want to pour just a little bit in there to start with. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay. And for this, I'm going to do 2 chocolates. One's the salted caramel, and then one is just the original marshmallow. So I'm going to fill up 4 of those. And you're going to put just a little bit in them. Then you start with you want to use your silicone brush. And just kind of brush it gently up the sides, going all the way to the top. And you want to make sure you get it all the way to the top so that your edges aren't too thin. Let's just do that. Now what you can also do, which is what I did with this first one with the red, rather than doing just a white ball and then doing the red after, I did the red beforehand. All I did was melt some red candy melt, put it in a Ziploc bag, snip the corner, and then I just drizzled it in lines back and forth and let that set up before I did this first coat. But I'm not going to do that this time. This time I'm going to do the red stripes after. Okay, so again, you're just painting the chocolate up the sides of your mold, making sure you get it all the way to the top so that your edges aren't too thin. And this one needs a little more chocolate. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I got those ones done, and now I'm gonna do this last ones are gonna be my peppermint, so I'm gonna do the white chocolate with those. So again, you just pour a little bit in there. And then paint it up the sides. So again, just make sure you're painting it all the way up to the top of the mold. Okay, perfect. And you want to do this one too. And again, you might have to add more chocolate. You want this first coat to be kind of thin, just because you don't want to fill it up too much because you want room for whatever fillings you're going to put in there. Okay, so those look good. So all of those, as you can see, they're painted up to the top. And if you can see your mold through it, that's okay because this is just your first coat. So now we're going to pop this in the fridge until the chocolate sets up. It takes about 5 minutes. So I'll be back when they're all set up, okay? Okay guys, I'm back. So the first layer has set up in the fridge, and now we're going to get ready to add the second layer. Now I personally don't think you need any more than 2 layers. Like I said, you don't want it to be too thick, and you also don't want your hot chocolate to be too sweet. So I think two layers is sufficient. So again, just pour a little into each one. Now with this second coat, I only like to pour it in 2. Because these are cold, this second coat is going to set up much quicker. You almost don't even have to put it back in the fridge, is how quickly it sets up. And that's just from the first layer being cold from being in the fridge. And again, just paint all the way up to the top. And you're just going to do that in each of those. So again, just take your brush and paint it all the way to the top. And like I said, you want to work rather quickly on the second layer because it's going to set up fast from the chocolate being cold. And then we'll do our white chocolate. Again, just gently paint that up the sides. Making sure you go all the way to the top so that your edges aren't too thin. You don't want them breaking when you go to seal them together. Okay, so those are done. And like I said, these are already pretty much set up now, just from the coldness of the chocolate. And then what you can do too, if you have any excess chocolate, you can just kind of clean your edges up a little bit. And I don't worry if it falls down in there, it's just extra chocolate. Okay. We're going to do the same thing with our white chocolate. Just kind of clean that up a little bit so you have a flat edge when you go to seal these. Okay, so that's the easiest part. Chocolate is all in our molds. Now you can carefully, like I said, you don't even have to pop these back in the fridge. They set so well. You just want to carefully. Okay, and actually I guess they're not ready to pop out. So I am going to give them just a quick second in the fridge. So give me just 1 minute, I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. So I let these set in the fridge for a second. I've already popped them out of their molds. I also went ahead and melted a little of the red candy melts for the outside of my peppermint. So I'm just going to go ahead and just make some lines across. Oops, my chocolate got clogged up there. And for me, there's no rhyme or reason to how I do my stripes. It's just kind of some extra decoration. Okay, so I think that's good. So I'm gonna let those ones set up. Like I said, I like to use gloves for this part just because I don't like to leave, you don't want to leave fingerprints on your chocolate, or if you're hot-handed like me, you don't want to melt your chocolate. Now, last time when I did the gold ones, this is actually when I would have sprayed these with the gold mist spray that you can find at like Walmart. I had them just like this, sprayed them, and let it dry before I filled them. So this first one is just the original chocolate, like the original marshmallow that I do. Now this part is completely up to you what flavors you do. These are just the 3 flavors that I do. I'd love to know what kind of flavors you guys would do if you were doing these. So feel free to comment below what flavors you would try. Like I said, this is just your own personal preference. So to start with, I have my cocoa mix. And you don't need a lot of this. I put like just 1 spoon in there. So I got my cocoa mix, put that back off to the side. Then you grab your marshmallows. And I decided I want to try something different too with this one. Instead of a bunch of little marshmallows, I made homemade marshmallows and cut some out in shape. So I have like this star, and I want to try and do that in this one. So you just fill 1/2 with whatever you're using. Like I said, I start with my cocoa mix, and then I put my marshmallows. So that one is going to have a whole marshmallow, the star. Then with my other chocolate one, again, you're going to put the cocoa mix first. This one is going to be the caramel, the salted caramel. So we got our cocoa mix in. And I'm going to set this down because this part is a little harder. I tried to use the caramel bits in the first one, and it took too long to melt for me. So instead, I made a homemade salted caramel sauce, and I'm going to use that instead. So I'm just going to spoon that right in there, a big old spoonful, just like that. Let me put just a little bit more. Okay. Alright, so we got that one. And you want to leave room for your marshmallows. And again, my marshmallows look a little different because they're homemade, so they're kind of just all types of shapes. So you're going to take your marshmallows and put those right on top. And really, you can kind of pile them up because the other half is going to be empty, and so it'll be able to set right on top of there. Okay, so that's my salted caramel. Now we're going to see if our peppermint, that's not quite set up yet, so I'm going to let the red set up just a little bit more, and I'll be right back to show you how I fill those ones up. Alright guys, so I'm back, and now I'm ready to fill my third flavor that I do, which is the peppermint. And again, like I said before, these are just the 3 flavors that I offer. You could come up with all types of flavors. Experiment and go crazy with it. And like I said, please feel free to comment below what flavors you would try. So again, we start with our cocoa mix. And put a big spoon in there. And then, again, you can either use the crushed peppermint or you could use the Andes peppermint. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. I'm going to go with the regular peppermint. So you're going to put some peppermint in there. Again, make sure you leave some room for your marshmallows. And then the marshmallows go right on top. You just want to make sure they get in there. All right. So we have all 3 of our halves filled. Again, we had the original hot cocoa with our snowflake marshmallow. Then I've got the salted caramel and then our peppermint that we just did. Now to seal these, there's a couple ways you can do it. You could melt some chocolate, put it in a bag, snip the corner, and just drizzle it along the outer rim and press them together. What I like to do is to take a pan that I've heated. It's just a pan, just a skillet that I've heated. Take half of it. Ooh, and I might have got that a little too hot, so we'll let that set a second. Just kind of real quick melt it. Then press your 2 halves together and seal. Just like that. So you're basically just using half of it just to kind of slightly melt it and make it as your glue. So there's the original marshmallow. Then got this one, which is my caramel. And again, you could, if you'd rather not do the pan, you can just melt a little chocolate and just drizzle it along the edge. And you just hold those there for a few seconds just so they can seal themselves to each other. So there's our caramel. And then our peppermint. Again, you just fit those together like so. And hold them for a few minutes, a few seconds, I mean, and just kind of let them glue themselves to each other. Okay. So again, there we have the original hot cocoa that I tried to use the silver luster dust on, and I didn't really care for that because you can't really see that on there. Sorry. Now, as far as packaging goes, there's a few different ways you could package them. Sorry, let me grab these real quick. So you can use just like a cellophane bag and a cute little ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree and my business sticker on there. That's a cute way to do them. For ones that I ship, I actually use these cute little boxes. They're just white single cupcake boxes that you can get on Amazon. They've got a little window at the top. And I fill those, this one is filled with red shredded paper, just to kind of act as a cushion. And then you can tie a little bow. I'm terrible at bows, but you can tie a little bow and you've got a cute little gift. And then I think you could also probably I use these bags for popcorn, but they remind me of the bath bomb bags, like the bags that bath bombs come in. So you could probably fit 2 in here. That would also be another way you could package them. And then you could also offer them as like a gift set, comes with like a hot cocoa mug and then your bomb. I would put something in there so it's set up a little bit higher, but that's another way you could package it. It's super cute. So what I'm gonna do now is put you guys on pause for one more second. And what I'm gonna do now is heat up some milk to show you guys how these work once you've completed them. So we'll be back in just a minute once I've got the milk heated. Okay guys, so I've got my milk heated. I went ahead and put my hot cocoa bomb in my cup. I'm sorry, I hope you guys can see this. Hopefully by my next video I should have my tripod in, so that'll help. So I've got my hot milk and I'm just going to, sorry. Then I'm just gonna slowly pour this over. Let it bubble. Oh, might need a little bit more. And there it goes. It happens slowly, but it does happen. I think this one happened a little slower than the video I originally posted, just because the marshmallow is so much larger. But that's it, guys. There you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Be sure to hit subscribe. Feel free to share away. Tune in next time. I hope to put out videos weekly. And next week's video, I'm going to show you guys how to make these super cute, adorable little Christmas mouse Oreos. But those are super cute. So I hope to see you guys next time. Thanks.